Okay, so what I'm first going to do is take 2 balls of clay and roll them up so they're a little bit more smooth. And then I'm gonna make both of them 2 individual pinch pots. We talked about what a pinch pot was yesterday, but we need to make sure we start with a smooth sphere. Okay, these are pretty even in size. That's good because we need to combine them and make them one big hollowed out sphere. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with this one, making a pinch pot, sticking my thumb and twisting it around, squeezing the sides so that they can be even. What I'm going for is like half a circle shape. And just slowly turning it, smoothing it out, making sure that there's even thickness all the way around. So I don't want any sides to be thicker than the others, especially the bottom. So now that I kind of have the right shape, I'm just gonna thin it out a little bit more. Again, making sure that nothing is any thicker or thinner than anything else. And as you do that, you're gonna start to see some cracking. So what you wanna make sure you have by you is a wet sponge at all times. That way we can smooth out these cracks. I don't want you wiping the whole sponge on the clay, but instead just dipping your finger into the sponge and then smoothing out all those cracks that come up. So those cracks that you don't take care of right away will turn into bigger cracks as it starts to dry. So it's really important that we take care of it right away. Okay, so I have 1/2 complete. Woo. Now I'm gonna go ahead and do the next one. Same thing. Okay, again, I'm starting to see those cracks. And I'm smoothing them out and making sure it's not too thick, especially at the bottom. Okay, so next I'm going to attach the 2 pieces together so it becomes a sphere. Before I do that, I'm just going to thin it out a little bit more. We don't want it to be too thin, but we also don't want it to be too thick. Again, just smoothing out those cracks. This one had a lot of them, so I am just going to use the sponge to take care of those all at once. Okay, it's very important, which is why I keep going back around this, that all the walls or the sides of these half circles are even in thickness. Okay, so now I'll take a needle tool and I will scratch into both sides to make the score lines. So they don't have to be very neat. We're just kind of doing these crisscross lines. Okay, and again here. Okay, so once I have all the score lines, I'm gonna add some slip. I'm not gonna add too much because I don't want it kind of like seeping out the sides. That was kind of a lot. So rub it in, make it a thin layer. Okay, so next I'm going to take the two halves and join them, making sure that I'm pressing them together enough. Oh, there we go. And then I'll get to smooth out the seam. Okay. Now we're gonna start smoothing out the seam. So we take our finger to just bring the extra clay over to the other side and get rid of that line in between. So I'm just kind of pulling the clay down with my finger like that to smooth it out. And then afterwards, I'm going to take my sponge and smooth out over the whole thing. That is all I'm gonna do today because I do want this to dry out slightly before I do anything else to my whistle. So I'll finish sealing this line with my finger. Then I will take my sponge, smooth it out really well. Then I will wrap it in a bag, but I'm gonna first put it on a piece of cardboard. That way it's not just loosely in a bag. So here's my sphere. When I'm done at the end of class, I will get a piece of cardboard. We're gonna call this our project board, and a bag like this. I'm gonna put it on the project board. Then, make sure it doesn't roll away. Then put it in my bag. And make sure I knot it, not double knot, but just knot it once. And then we will put it on the shelf, making sure our name is on it, on the bag, so we can easily see it for the next day. And that is the very first step.